Hey everybody, my name is Steve, and in this video I'm going to show you the steps that I go through to completely redo the interior in this 2006 Ford F-150 crew cab. I own a small used car dealership in the Oklahoma City area, and I've been working with LeatherSeats.com for probably the last 2 years. I've had them redo the interior on a handful of cars and several trucks for me. I've always had them do the installation, but on this truck I needed to save some money, so I decided I would do the installation myself. Now, I would consider myself to be fairly mechanically inclined. I know a lot about working on cars, but I've never done anything with upholstery before. Now, I am pretty familiar with their product because I've used them quite a bit in the past, but this will be a new experience for me. And if you're trying to decide if you should tackle the installation yourself or maybe have a professional do it, hopefully this video will help you decide. I'm just going to take you along on the ride. I'll point out things as I come across them. Hopefully it won't be too long, and hopefully it won't be too boring. That said, I've got the kit in the truck, so I'm going to get it into the house and take it from there. Okay, so I'm here in my living room and I've got the box opened up, and let me just start by saying, don't use a razor blade to open this box. I used a box knife and I almost damaged the leather kit that's inside. This box is very full, and if you're not careful, as you can see, these flaps don't completely bridge this gap. If you're not careful and you come down here with a razor blade, you're going to slice right through whatever's on top here. Now there's an upside down piece that has carpet on the backing right here, so it probably would have been okay, but be really careful. Couple things: you're going to find your packing slip and an informational card. Definitely a good idea to just go through this, make sure that everything is correct. You're also going to have your installation kit. If you ordered it, it's just a bag of hog rings and a set of hog ring pliers. And then I also ordered some high strength spray adhesive because I may have to do some foam repair on my driver's side cushion, and to go along with that, some foam which will be used to help with the foam repair. And then they also included for me to help with that some jute, which I may have to wrap around the frame of the seat. We'll just have to see. And then scrim foam, which kind of goes over the foam once you've repaired it before you put the seat on. Probably all this stuff would be included in your box if you had it shipped to you, but because I'm local, I just picked up the box and I picked up the other stuff outside of the box. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull everything out, get everything laid out on my living room floor, and go from there. Okay, so I've got everything out of the box and laid out in my living room just like it's going to go in the truck. And everything looks pretty good. I'm really happy with the way this kit looks. I think it's going to be great in the truck. A couple things I want to point out. I noticed a little elastic strap on the cushion, and so I called Tim from Leather Seats just to verify this, but the front seats are side specific. So the elastic strap goes on the inside on the cushion. So I've got the driver's side here and the passenger side there. And also on the backrest, the outside bolster is supposed to be a little bit bigger. So if you take a look, this bolster is a little bit bigger. This is what you call the bolsters. So that means this is the driver's side, and the bolster on that one is larger on the outside, so that's the passenger side. As far as the back seat is concerned, it's pretty self-explanatory. There is carpet on the bottom of the cushion, which is the same way it is in the truck. Also on the backrest, you'll notice that there's a child seat anchor system tag. So that indicates that that part is the backrest, and that's going to go on the bottom. Okay, so I want to take just a second to talk about color selection, options, and leather content. So like many of you, I received my samples from Leather Seats, and I think it's really important once you get these to go put your vehicle out into the natural sunlight and put these up against the plastics, up against the upholstery, and really spend some time to pick your colors. I ended up going with graphite and stone, which is what Leather Seats had recommended for me, but you may choose something different, and it's a pretty eye-opening experience. And I'll actually take you out to my truck and show you sort of what I did to pick my colors. Okay, so I've got my truck, it's out here underneath my carport, and I've got the color samples laid out here on the seat, and just kind of show you. Basically I have them here from lightest to darkest, and you know, it's definitely tricky to figure out what should go where. I mean, on this particular truck, I've got two different colors of plastics on the side. This is kind of a dark, almost like a dark graphite, and then it's got a black. And then that same dark graphite plastic and light gray is on the dashboard and kind of follows through to the door. You know, and if you just have your samples out here, you know, you can see none of them really look great, but if you pull the truck out into natural light, it really makes a big difference. So I'm going to pull it out from underneath the carport. It's a little bit overcast today, so it won't be as pronounced, but hopefully it'll give you a better idea. Okay, so I've pulled the truck out from under my carport into the natural light, and it is kind of overcast today. It's best to do this on a sunny day, but hopefully this will help you see the importance of getting your truck out into the ambient light and really using those color samples. Okay, so I've got your sample range from lightest to darkest, and you know, you just want to kind of start looking at different parts of your interior and, you know, kind of seeing what's gonna fit with what. I mean, on this particular interior, on the side of the seat, I've actually got two different colors of plastics. There's this kind of dark gray, and then there's actually a black. That dark gray and this light gray follow up here to the dashboard, and then over on the door, I actually have the light gray with some black and this kind of dark gray. And actually you can see these two are actually the same color, but this is where this one is just filthy. It's covered in grease and grime, so it's actually a different color. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to find a cleaner piece when I'm comparing. You know, this is the stone, and you know, if you hold it up, and it's probably going to be a little bit difficult with the camera and the white balance, but you can see this actually matches really, really well. If you kind of compare that with smoke, you can see they're close, but in sunlight, the stone, actually in bright light, the stone actually matches quite a bit better. It's definitely hard to tell when it's overcast. If you look at the graphite, this is the graphite here. This is dark graphite, and we're going to compare that down here to the side plastic here. And again, graphite and dark graphite. In the sunlight, it's definitely better, but the graphite is definitely a better match. And you can see this plastic here, and here, this part of the door panel here. So ultimately, I went with graphite and stone, which are right here. Okay, and if you hold those up, kind of look at them right there, I mean, that's a really good color match. So definitely get your samples out, get them in your car, get it out in the light, take some time to make this decision. Like I said, I went with graphite on the exterior, stone for the inserts. I had the inserts perforated, and I also went with contrasting stone double stitching on the perimeter seams. As far as leather content is concerned, I chose to go with a Deluxe Leather Kit on this particular truck. Leather Seats has a couple different options you can pick from. With the Deluxe, you get full leather seating surfaces on the front seats and leather inserts only on the back seats. I think this is going to be the right kit for this truck. Okay, so one thing that I always do before I dive into a mechanical project on a car or truck is take plenty of pictures of whatever I'm going to be working on before I actually start tearing it apart. So I'm going to take a ton of pictures of the interior of this truck, and that's definitely a good idea for you. You're going to want to notice how things go together and probably take plenty of pictures along the way. So a few things I want to point out. As you can see, something I noticed is that the inserts on this truck actually don't align. They're about an inch off. I mean, you can see that it's probably about an inch. It's pretty hard to tell because the interior is black, but in my new interior, which is two-tone black and gray, something like that is definitely going to stand out. Oops. It's also like that on the back seats. It's not as bad. It's probably about a half of an inch. But anyway, it's good to kind of notice that it's like that from the factory. I don't know how the LeatherSeats.com kit is gonna line up, if it's gonna be better or about the same. Anyway, you might just want to take plenty of pictures, even take some video like I'm doing. It's always a good idea, so that if you kind of get messed up, you want to know how the plastics go together. That way, if you have any questions, once you've gotten started, you have at least something you can go back and reference. Okay, well, we've got a cold front moving in tonight, and it's going to get really cold over the next couple of days, starting around midnight tonight. So I want to get the seats out of this truck and into my garage so that I can continue this project, even if it's really cold, in the comfort of my garage with at least a space heater. Worst case scenario, this isn't a real dirty job, so I could probably bring it into my living room if I really needed to. Hopefully I won't need to do that. One thing I am going to do is disconnect the battery first, because I do have a active seat belt and potentially occupancy detection on the passenger side. I don't want there to be any chance that I accidentally put the key in the ignition and cause a light to go off on the dashboard that's going to have to be cleared by a Ford dealer. Also, once you pull the seats out of the truck, you're obviously not going to be able to move it until you get everything back in, especially if you have airbags or anything else like that. So I want to get this truck positioned in such a way that my wife will be able to get into the garage when she gets home tonight. Otherwise, I'll be in the doghouse. So I'm going to take you in and show you the tools I think I'm going to need, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so I'm going to do most of the work for this project in my garage, or that's my expectation. I'll have the truck parked out there in case I need to go back and forth. I just have a pretty sturdy table here. Hopefully it's sturdy enough. And then kind of an assortment of basic tools. So I've got some stuff here that I'll be able to use to do foam repair. Leather Seats just recommended that I use a standard turkey knife in order to cut the damaged foam. And anyways, if I need to do that, we'll jump off that bridge when we come to it. Aside from that, I have another camera here. This is a video camera and one that I can take still shots with. I've got my installation kit, which is my hog rings and hog ring pliers. And then I just have kind of an assortment of automotive tools. I mean, this is just kind of a standard Husky tool set. I promise this isn't a Husky commercial. I just happen to have mostly Husky tools. Kind of an assortment of pliers. Hopefully I won't need anything more than that. I do have a set of Torx bits, everything all the way up to a T55, so that should be good. Box knife with some razors, a couple of screwdrivers. I do have an impact drill that I may use to pull the seats out with, and then of course some gloves in case it starts getting, you know, pretty chilly. Another thing Leather Seats recommended I use is a steamer in order to steam the foam before I put the new upholstery on, and I just picked this one up on Craigslist. It wasn't that expensive, and we'll see how it works. Plus my wife will be happy because she can steam all of her, you know, sweaters and dresses and things like that once I'm done with my upholstery project. And then I have a bucket down here that just has kind of some miscellaneous other tools. If I really get into a bind, I do have another vehicle that I can take to a parts store if I need to go get any specialty tools or anything else like that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started on pulling the seats out, and hopefully we can get that done before it gets dark and cold. Okay, so the first mistake I ran into was I disconnected the battery, but then I realized that there was a power seat on the driver's side, so I had to reconnect it and moved it all the way forward so that I could get to the bolts here in the back. You see those are just right there. And it was just a 15mm bolt, but they were really, really tight. That was a little bit hard to see. What I would probably recommend is getting under there with some anti-seize or something and spraying it from the bottom and letting it sit. So now that the rears are basically undone, I'll take them all the way out and basically need to, with the battery still plugged in, move the seat all the way back. The passenger seat is a manual seat, so I'm not going to have this problem. But now that it's all the way back, I should be able to get in there, and you're not going to be able to see it, but the bolt is same bolt, and it's underneath. So once I've got that out, I'll put the seat back into kind of its center position and then undo the battery. Okay, so I've definitely run into an issue already, and this is on the back seat. This one came out no problem, but you can see right there, focus, there is a smaller Torx bolt that has to come out. It looks like the bottom of the hinge assembly is attached, and I do not have a tool that can get in there. This one, I just can't get the angle is just a little bit too sharp. I cannot get there. So these are the only Torx bits that I have. Actually, I have a small set right here, but the biggest one they had in here was a T30, and this guy needs a T40. So looks like I'll be making a run to AutoZone. Okay, it's freaking freezing out here, and I think I'm gonna have to make another run to AutoZone. Basically, I've got this Torx. This is the only thing I could find, and it's still, doggone it. Are you kidding me? Oh, here it is. It's still too long, so what I need is to be able to put that on there and then, you know, get on it with some kind of a wrench. I tried using a crescent wrench and I cannot get it tight enough. It just begins to strip around the edge. This Torx bit is a T40 and it is a 1/4 inch drive. So I'm going to go and get a 1/4 inch closed in wrench, and I should be able to then put the Torx in there, put the closed in wrench around it, and I should be able to remove it that way. So I'll be back. Okay, so on this bolt, as you can see, I just have my closed end wrench on the Torx, and I'm fairly easily able to just begin to kind of work it off. I've gotten both of these bolts out. Seat is basically loose, and I believe I'm just going to be able to pull this out. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so as you can see, it's just on a pin. So you just got to kind of work with the seat, get the other side up, and kind of pop it out. The seatbelt is still connected here. It looks like I'm probably going to have to, whoops, looks like I'm probably going to have to actually take off that bolt in order to completely disconnect the seatbelt and get the cushion out. Alright, so I'm just going to get in there with turns out it's an 18 millimeter. Just going to loosen that up, and that should allow me to remove the 70% cushion. Alright, so I got that nut removed, and that thing should come right off and basically feed through here, and the 70% cushion is free. I'm going to go over and remove the 30% now. It's probably going to come out the same way. Okay, we're now on the 30% side, and it looks like it's going to come out the same way. So one thing I've been noticing, I'd be real careful on this. I'm not using my impact. The engagement on the bit is good. It's the right size, but it's not super tight, and I think that's because Ford started using Torx Plus. At least that's what I've read on the internet. And these are just standard Torx bits. So, like I said, the engagement's good. I would be careful about using a impact though, because I'm really having to pay close attention as I'm, you know, backing it out. cushion out. And just to review, on both sides you're going to have 2 Torx bolts to remove. And then you essentially have a sliding fit here. Looks like there's a little plastic, this is probably a friction ring, because I kind of damaged it a little bit when I was pulling it off. So you do want to be careful not to bend this, but it's like that on both sides. So now we just got to get out the backrest. So there's a couple tricks to getting out this backrest, and it's real easy. If you just go online and search F-150 back seat removal, there's videos, there's, you know, forum posts that have pictures, but you know, basically you're just gonna pry the top off of this with a screwdriver, and then you just have 2 10mm bolts that have to come out, and I've already loosened these. Once you have those out, this thing just pops right off, and then you basically just have this Torx that you have to remove. I've already loosened up. It's a T50. So you just got to remove that. Okay. This backrest has a little bit of a tricky thing. There's some clips that are behind the backrest that you have to release, and there's one on each side. There's one basically on this side above this clip, and there's one on the other side above that clip, and there's videos on how to do it, but I don't have a long enough screwdriver, and I was really struggling with it. So I talked to Tim at Leather Seats, and he told me an easy solution is, since I'm throwing away this cloth upholstery, would just be to cut the bottom of the upholstery here, which would allow the cushion to pull back, and then I should easily be able to see the clip and release it on both sides. So that's what I'm going to do. Once I get the upholstery cut, I'll show you the clip I'm talking about. Alright, so I basically got under here and cut the bottom side of the upholstery all the way across the underside. What that is going to allow for this cushion to pull back, and if the cushion pulls back, you can see, probably not going to be able to get the camera in a position where you can see it, but you can see alright. There it is. Okay, here's the back of the truck with the rear seat removed. Those clips I was talking about are right here. The frame rail sits right here, and this tab just catches on a little piece of a little metal bracket. It's actually right there. It flips over and catches on that. So you got to get underneath there. By cutting this upholstery, I was able to pull the foam back and release it. So you've got to release both of them. There's 2. I ended up having to prop one side up because it would pop back in when I'd go release the other side. So once that's up, there's just these there's 3 of them, little brackets that just pop right out. They basically go right there. There's 3 of them. It's pretty easy once you get those tabs released, so hopefully you won't have trouble with that. Now that I've got the whole back seat out, I'm going to get everything into my garage, and I'm going to actually start working on reupholstering the back seat first.